My story begins in about the year 2006. I started with ringing in the ears. It progressed to my first vertigo spell was in 2010. I'd have 1 to 2 vertigo spells a year. That progressed into 3 to 4 a year. Got to be about 2014-15 era where I was getting episodes once a week to 2 or 3 times a week. That lasted about 2 years. One day I picked up the local paper and I laid it on the table and the word Ménière's popped out of the newspaper. So I looked at the ad and it was for Gardner Schofield Chiropractic, and he listed that he could help people with Ménière's. I was skeptical at first. I showed my wife. She said, well, we better research this. So we researched it. We went online and there were claims that this worked. So for a very low $20, we made an appointment. We came in. Dr. FJ gave us x-rays. He sat down with us and we came up with a plan to fix me. I went in May in 2017. It was up and down throughout the next 3 or 4 months. It would get better for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I would, go back to having some episodes. Then around December of 2017, I had my last episode, and for the last 3 to 4 months, I've been pretty much back to my old self and feeling really good. So for anybody that has an issue with Ménière's or vertigo spells, give chiropractic a try.
These are Matt's pre and post films. So with all orthogonally based upper cervical techniques, like orthospinology, atlas orthogonal, NUCCA, you take x-rays before and after the adjustments, which is a concept I absolutely love. And then you know for sure that you have improved the alignment of the patient. So when Matt came in, and excuse the camera bouncing around, I'm a chiropractor, not a director or a filmmaker, so this is not a Spielberg production, but this is when he first came in. So he had left 1 laterality, so his atlas, the top bone of his neck, has shifted to the left 1 degree. His head was going over almost 1 degree to the right, and the lower neck was 7.5 degrees off of center, the y-axis, off of basically the line of gravity. And when you measure that, it came to, with the upper neck tipping to the left, it came to 5.5 degrees. So a lot of pressure on the spinal cord, the muscles, and the joints. So then we took him. What I did is I placed my hands very gently right here at the upper left part of his neck, 1.25 inches high, and then I came from, he was posterior, so you come from behind to then slide it in, and you just hold your hand there and just slide it into alignment, and you'll feel the tension and resistance dissolve, and then you take an x-ray afterwards. And sometimes it takes several adjustments and several x-rays, and sometimes you get it right away. But so he went from left 1 to left 0.3. Head tilt came down about 50%. Went from angular rotation of 7.5 to 3.5, and a lower angle of left 5.6 to left 2.6. So over 50% improvement. And I don't freak out about the percentage of improvement necessarily. I just want to see everything improving. Also see his posture improve, his leg length, balance, and then just the muscular tone of his spine relax. And then you know you've improved the alignment. You know you've fixed the underlying cause of the problem. And you know this person's muscles, joints, and nerves are going to function better, and they're going to start to heal because they're in the position they're designed to be in. So when they're walking through gravity, you'll see shoulders balance, hips balance, and a lot of issues you wouldn't think get better. I've had a lot of knee problems, hip problems, shoulder problems, and you have to correct the overall alignment if you're really going to fix that problem. And upper cervical does that. And what I love about this technique is it's one visit. This was done on one visit. Now, he was in our office for about 5 hours, I believe. 3 to 4 hours is probably the average. I have had some people with really difficult misalignments and a lot of resistance in their spine, a lot of tension. I've had them in here sometimes for 7, 8 hours, 10 hours. But you fix it in one day, and it's better. Now, that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to feel better the next day. Some days, I've had trigeminal neuralgia patients wake up the next day and the face pain gone. I've had people wake up the next day and feel like they got hit by a bus. Some people feel the same for a while. The most common response is you feel good for a few days, and then you start feeling bad. You kind of go on and off like Matt did. You feel good, and then it comes back, and you feel good, and it comes back, and it's this seesaw for a while as the body's healing. But the response, you know, as long as it holds there, you know the body's going to heal. You know the body's going to improve. Okay, and that's what we do. So you fix it on one visit, and then we check them afterwards to make sure they're holding. You check them more often than the beginning because the body's used to being out of alignment. So if they sleep on their belly, or if they fatigue the body, or if they get under stress or something, or lift something heavy, it's easy for the body to slide back out of alignment. But as they hold longer and longer, you don't have to see them a lot. And I'll have patients that will hold their adjustment for 3 months, 6 months. Once they've been in alignment for a while, they'll hold really, really well, and the symptoms will resolve, and they'll feel great, and they'll be able to avoid the really nasty flare-ups. And the goal here is not to necessarily make Matt perfect. It's just to get him where his body wants to be. Okay, because he's still got several degrees of lower angle there, but everyone's not designed to be in absolutely perfect alignment. We just want to get that body functioning normally, and then get the spine holding, which is a concept in upper cervical chiropractic that I absolutely love, is the concept of holding. Many, many times patients will come in, we'll check them, and we check them and they're in alignment. We don't adjust them. And that's the goal. We don't want to adjust you. And then we go longer without seeing them. And our goal is to get people going months and months and months and holding, not needing an adjustment. And it's difficult to do, but it's fabulous. And the results for the patient are unbelievable. We've helped so many more people that we didn't help before using this level of precision and specificity. And the thing to understand here too is if I'd adjusted him on the right, I'd have made it worse. I would have increased the pressure in his muscles, joints, and nerves, and he would have felt worse most likely, and it would have been a bad thing to do. So that's what I love about the precision of this technique, the NUCCA, the orthospinology, is you know for sure that body, where it's at, and then you make sure it's better before they leave your office. Then nobody holds forever. So when Matt does go out of alignment again, he's been holding now for several months, we'll know exactly how to adjust him. We'll adjust him on the left, 1/4 of an inch high and 3.5 posterior, and put him right back into alignment. And the adjustments, once you've been in alignment for a while, are very, very quick because there's not a lot of tension in the spine. And that's why we don't check people when they are in pain. We check them regularly based on their holding pattern. So it may be some people will come in every 3 months, every 6 months, every 2 months, and we'll check them. Because typically the body will go out of alignment for a while, weeks, months, even years, without any pain. So the tension and the resistance has to build in the body for a while before you feel any pain. So by doing that, by checking people regularly, we can get them in, catch them when they've gone out of alignment, but fix it, and then prevent any pain, prevent any flare-ups. And then also sometimes people will work really hard and their backs will be sore and achy and in pain, and they come in and it's muscular. They've just overworked the muscles, they're swollen, they're hurting, and they just ice it a few times, they rest, and it goes away. But we'll always know, because when the body goes out of alignment, you injure the soft tissues. And the collagen the body uses to heal with is different than the collagen the body creates with. So you'll only regain about 50 to 70% of your original tensile strength. So those soft tissues will always give when you're stressed or you do something to challenge the body. They'll always give in the same way, unless a new trauma comes in and knocks the body in a totally different alignment. So Matt will always go back out this way. And so we have the formula now to fix it. And so as long as we stay consistent, no new traumas, we're going to be able to prevent the vertigo from coming back. So when we adjust Matt, we measure it all based on the x-ray. So I get my tape measure here. He's 1 1/4 high, 3 1/4 backwards, posterior. So we mark that. We have his contact point from x-ray. So that's exactly where the top of his neck is. Then I come in, have these platforms built, because I didn't start adjusting this way. I did traditional chiropractic here for 7 years and then switched to doing upper cervical specific, and then was taught the hand adjustment by Dr. McNally. So then I dropped down, and I would place my hands right above the atlas, and I would hold it there. And Matt, what does the adjustment feel like?
Just slight pressure on my head, basically.
Yep. So it's only 1 to 3 grams of pressure. Very, very light. Feels like almost nothing. Most people just barely feel the ear being touched, and we hold it. The original adjustment usually will be somewhere between 15 minutes up to maybe an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes, depending on how much tension and resistance is in the spine. But then once you fixed it, follow-up adjustments, when the spine loses its adjustment, loses its alignment, are lots of times just 5, maybe 10 minutes, 15 at the most. They're usually very quick once you've broken through that resistance the first time. But then eventually, why I absolutely love the upper cervical technique is we want to get the spine to hold in its alignment. So he doesn't need to get adjusted. He came in more frequently in the beginning because he'd lose his adjustment. He'd been out of alignment for decades. Now his body's gotten used to being in alignment, and it's been holding really well now for months. So when it holds, it heals. And that's allowed his body, because it's held in alignment, that's taken pressure off the nerves, off the spinal cord and the brainstem, and allowed his body to heal itself. So now we're going to check him in another 3 months to make sure he's still holding his alignment and doing really well.